Welcome back, folks, to Fishing Planet. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we're going to be talking about more of the poles that you should save up for when you're a beginner. This is going to be the float series, right? So for your float bait fishing, this is what's going to help you out if you save up for these poles. These aren't going to be in order of importance. They're going to be in order of level. Okay. Now, obviously, right away, you got to use what you can. But what you want to do is start to save up money and not buy every pole that you run across in the entire game, which is something I did. This will help save you money quite a bit. And as you guys can see here, um, every setup, as you can see here, is based off of the value that you have your reel turned down one notch. So if you look at the bottom right corner there in that circle, you can see it's going up and down. You want one of them grayed out like that. So the first pole that you're really going to be looking forward to in the game for a float pole. Now keep in mind with float poles, you're not going to have as many of them as you are the bottom rods are probably spinning. And a reason for that is at a river or places with current, a bottom rod has a tendency to be more universal and handy, but you are going to need a set of your match poles. The float poles, there's certain things only in the game you can, but you could skip over a few of these, and I will talk about that. But your first one is going to be a Nero. And you can start to really assemble this before level 20 if you want, and get it worked on and buy the pieces for it. This is it right there. We'll unequip that so you guys can see. And honestly, this is your first good pull you're going to run on. And I know it's level 20, but like I've said before, if you've seen the other videos, my kids just restart or completely started fresh in the game, and they're level 20 at Mudwater. So if you're completing the game, catching your fish species, doing your missions, and just relaxing and have a good time, it doesn't take much to get to level 20. With that being said, this is the Nero setup. You will use this. I still use every one of these poles that you guys see. Um, quite often. And so for our second pole that you're going to be saving up, this is probably the one I use the most out of all of them, and it's a Phoenix. And you'll be able to get most of this at level 32. And you will use this one quite a bit. Like I said, out of the full poles, is probably the one I end up using the most. And you definitely want to have the most, or you want to have a few of these probably. I think I have 5 of these total. But like I said, very good setup, and this will carry you pretty far into the game if you want. Same with this Brutus. This Brutus is actually for the level quite strong, and I don't end up using it as much as I probably should anymore. But early game, I use this thing quite a bit, and most of this stuff actually, or this setup, you can get by level 38. So not much after the Phoenix, but the Phoenix is good for a very good balance for light fish and bigger fish, whereas this is going to be more towards your heavier fish than you would be, for example, using on bluegill. But again, very handy to use. Now, to be honest with you guys, the next pole, if you want to save a lot of money, I don't use these much anymore. You could skip over them if you're patient enough to get to the Ecuador match if you would like. But this is the spell launcher, and you can see the setup here on the left hand side. This is the setup you're going to get around 65. And I know it sounds crazy, but your Brutuses will take you that far pretty easily. That being said, again, this is a setup that um, can be very handy when you first get it, but when you get to the last one, which is going to be level 6 on the Ecuador match or Equator match, you're going to notice that I don't use these spell launchers much, right? There's not a huge difference between this and the last set, so I end up using the Ecuador matches. They cast really well. I have no issues with them. And this setup you can get by level 76. So there are some setups in between on the floats. Obviously, I wouldn't waste money and I would try to stick to your guns on trying to get these, because if you notice, another thing I want to talk about, look at the Phoenix, right? The setup has the the Big River reel on it, which you guys have seen in all 3 of the other videos so far, right? So you don't have to buy it. You know, even the Bremer, which you've seen on the Jig Winner, and the um, was it the Big Ali? You've seen it already a few times. You notice there's some reels and stuff we cross use from all these setups, and that's what I would recommend doing. In fact, like this Impulsion. So hopefully this helps you out, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.